What's up there guys, GarethWilliam414 here and welcome to a brand new character deck profile on the channel. Today I am bringing you Odion's deck profile, and this by far is probably the hardest deck that I've ever had to put together. Reason being was, there's enough cards to make an Odion deck, but there's not enough to make a full 40. So, there'll be a lot of like duplicates in here. There's a few cards in here that he never used. But I thought would fit his deck really well. I've researched this, I've gone over loads of different profiles, I've read up on it. So this is going to be my take on his deck profile. So by all means, leave me any comments in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you think there's another card that would fit better instead of one that I've chosen for it. But this is it. I'm happy with it, and it ran really well. I mean, I recently did the Battle City Finals series. He played against Joey and the deck ran really well and I was really happy with it. But this is my take on it, and like I said, just drop me a comment, let me know. I'm interested to see what you guys think of it. But before we get into the video, if you enjoy it, don't forget to smash that like button, share the video with a friend, and subscribe for more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh character deck duels, profiles, openings, and more. Don't forget as well, YouTube's recently changed the way it does things, so if you're new to subscribing to me, don't forget to hit the little bell next to the subscribe button to make sure that your notifications are turned on for my channel so you don't miss out on any future videos that I post. But with that being said, let's get into the deck profile. But before actually I do that, like I mentioned, there was that character deck duel between him and Joey. What I'll do is I'll leave a link to that in the description below so you can see the deck in action. But with that being said, let's get into the profile, and I'm going to start with Odion's fake copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra that was given to him by Marek. Of course, anyone that's in the show, you know what happened when he played this. Lightning went off, it went down, luckily, no lightning has been involved when we've played this card, so that is all good. But that's in there. But his main boss monster is the Mystical Beast of Circuit. Obviously running 3 of these. Odion really doesn't run any monsters. It's more like kind of spells and traps that he runs, so there's very few monsters here. But this is one hell of a monster to have in there. It's a 6-star monster. You need to have Temple of Kings out to be able to bring it to the field. 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense, and every time that it destroys a monster it gains 500 attack. So this guy can be an absolute nightmare to take on, especially if you've got nothing to take him down. The next monster, the next few monsters, he never actually played. I've included these, I've researched them, and I thought they'd fit with the deck really well. So I've got 3 copies of A Man with Wajet. I think that's pronounced right. It's in there. I mean, it looks very like Egyptian themed. It's a little 4-star monster, so he's got something to defend himself with. It's 1,600 attack and defense, so it will, kind of stall for a bit of time, but it can do a bit of damage at the same time. I don't think it affects the deck too much, but that's the reason why it's in there. I think it just, fits the deck well without making it a non-Odion deck, if that makes sense. The final monster I've got in here as well, same reason. I think, artwork wise, it suits the theme of the deck, and it's once again, it's just going to be another card that helps you out. I've got just a copy of Morphing Jar there. That's it. That is Odion's monsters there. So moving on to the vast amount of spell and traps. So we mentioned Mystical Beast of Circuit. We've got 3 Temple of the Kings. So obviously you need this to be able to get Circuit on the field. If this isn't on the field, Circuit goes. That's including if Circuit is already on the field. If your opponent manages to get rid of Temple of the Kings, then Circuit goes with it. But you can also activate trap cards the same time they're set. And with Odion playing a lot of cool trap cards, like trap monsters, things like that, this card is very handy. Next up, we've got 3 copies of Swords of Revealing Light. Don't need to explain it really. It's going to stall for time, especially if you're not drawing what you need. It's just a really good card, and it works really well. 3 is not too cloggy, which is good, because that's one of the only problems when you run decks with so many copies. You can clog up on the cards that you don't want. Okay, next up, 2 copies of Dispel. don't really need to explain what it does, but it's there to basically, you know, help you out. And you know, I believe he played something like this or similar to in the anime. The next few cards are all, you know, I thought, you know, what could I do? What could I add to Odion's deck that's not gonna, you know, not make it an Odion deck? You know, what's gonna help it out, but not change it completely. And I thought, you know, he's got very few cards that he used in the anime, which are really good, really powerful cards. So, you know, drawing power, you know, getting to those cards as quickly as you can would be awesome. So, for that purpose, I've ran two copies of Card of Sanctity. Obviously, we play it like the anime effect, where you draw to each player has 6 cards in the hand, not the effect that it has on there. You know, I think that runs, you know, really well. Obviously, you know, your opponent's drawing cards as well, but if you can quickly get to those cards you need, then that's awesome. As well as that, I've run 2 copies of Graceful Charity, you know, drawing 3 and then discarding 2 from the hands. Hopefully you can get rid of some of those dead cards in hand and get to those better cards quicker. Also, I run a copy of Pottergreen. I mean, every character pretty much runs it. You know, we never saw him play it in the show, but I'm sure, you know, he probably did. I mean, if you can run it, why not? And finally, I've just got a copy of Monster Reborn in there. You know, if you've got a few circuits engraved and you need to get them out, I thought, you know, why not? Plus, it's another card that every like character deck tends to have, so it boosts it out to its 40. Moving on to Odion's trap cards then. So this card is awesome, really, really awesome. He's got 3 copies of Embodiment of Apopus, and this was like the birth of, you know, trap monsters. So, you know, during each player's main phase, special summon this card as a normal monster, 1600 attack and 1800 defense. The card is still also classed as a trap card, so your opponent can still take it out the same way. You know, really cool, and it's, you know, definitely a nice handy card to have in there. Next up, we've got 3 copies of Judgment of Anubis. Really cool card. Love the artwork on this. You know, the whole like theme, his and Ishizu's theme, to be fair, was really cool. Well, saying that Marek you'd include in there as well, that Egyptian like theme, it's just, you know, it's just awesome. So this card, you discard 1 card from your hand to negate the activation and the effect of a spell card controlled by your opponent. That includes the effect of destroying spell and or trap cards on the field and destroy it. Then you can destroy 1 face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster. So, you know, that is absolutely awesome. Such a good card. You know, it's just awesome. Awesome. Not much more to say about it. Next up, he's got 3 copies of Magic Jammer. He played a card like this or similar to this, so that's why I've got it in here. Obviously, you just discard a card to negate the activation of a spell card and destroy it. So, self-explanatory. There's a lot of like destroying spell cards in here, so I thought, you know, we'd equal it up with 2 copies of Trap Jammer. I think same again. I think he did play a card similar to it. Obviously, not under the name of Trap Jammer. But there we go. I've got that in there for that same reason, just to, you know, help him out a bit. Next up, we have 2 copies of Curse of Anubis. Change all effect monsters on the field to defense position. This turn, the original defense of those monsters becomes 0. Also, their battle positions cannot be changed. You know, it just fits with that theme. You know, he's got, you know, another 2 cards here that he, you know, didn't play, but I feel buys him a bit of time. These, you know what, to be fair, the next like kind of 3 cards I'm not 100% certain on or sure on. So leave me a comment in the comment section below and let me know if I could put anything maybe better in there. But I've gone for 2 copies of Trap Hole just to kind of like buy him a bit of time. Maybe 2's too much, I'm not too sure. But I you know, I was struggling to finish this deck. I think these last 3 cards were like the last 3 that were added to it. So I've got them in there just, you know, to buy him a bit of time. The next card is the Eye of Truth. I thought, you know, obviously it follows that Egyptian theme. You know, obviously in terms of effect, it's not the greatest. Maybe it can help you out. I mean, luckily, like, you know, I didn't feel like I needed to use it in the duel. But you know, it can be handy as long as, you know, the card remains face up on the field. Your opponent, you know, must show his or her hand. They do get 1,000 life points in each of their standby phases if they have like a spell card in their hand. So it's a gamble, but you know, you can look at their card. If they haven't got a spell card in there, then, you know, fair enough, you've got to look at their hand. It's awesome. Next up, I've got a copy of Negate Attack. You know, no need to explain why that's in there. Just buy yourself some time. And the final card is, you know, played a lot by like the rare hunters, and you know, an absolute powerhouse of card. One of my favorite trap cards of all time. Mirror Force. It's just, you know, a massive kind of like card to have, and this can just like absolutely devastate the opponent, which is absolutely awesome. But there we go, guys. That was my Odion deck profile there. I really hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, let me know what your thoughts are. The main problem with this deck was obviously there was enough to make the deck, but not enough to make it that every card is one that he played. I mean, Konami, like I said, in the Ishizu deck profile, are doing a really good job at the moment of bringing out cards that they hadn't printed before for the character deck. So maybe with a bit of luck, you know, it's a long shot, but maybe some Odion cards will come out and I can exchange some of these to make a more accurate Odion deck. But I'm pretty happy with this. But like I said, leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. But there we go. You know, so don't forget, if you enjoyed the deck profile, to give this video a massive thumbs up. Share the video with a friend. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I do a lot of character deck profiles, duels, openings, and I'm bringing a lot more to the channel next year, which is really exciting. So subscribe if you want to, and don't forget to hit the little bell, notification bell next to the subscribe button, so that you get notified. So you don't miss out on these videos. That's it. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Till next time, I will see you in the next video. Take care.